Picture a dark silhouette, an entire army marching blind through choking Deccan dust storms, right under a brutal crimson sun.
And down on the ground, resting on a slab of dark volcanic rock, sits a weather-worn silver coin. It's spinning in slow motion, catching the dim light, until a single drop of blood hits the surface.
For centuries, a shadow ruled over the absolute heart of India. We're tracking a syndicate so immensely powerful, they literally forced the mighty Caesars to empty Rome's treasuries.
This was an empire built on staggering wealth and absolute dominance. And yet, they just completely vanished. Today, we're tearing open the cold case of the Shatavahanas.
The stakes of this investigation are absolutely massive. We're looking at a dynasty that controlled the geographic dead center of the Indian subcontinent, thriving in the harshest Deccan dust.
And they didn't just casually trade. They commanded a monopoly so terrifyingly efficient, it siphoned unimaginable quantities of gold directly out of the Roman West.
But here is the most chilling piece of the profile. A geopolitical titan this deeply entrenched, it should have left an eternal footprint.
Instead, they evaporated. The grand empire splintered, leaving behind nothing but fractured kingdoms, deformed coins, and a trail of bloody, cryptic clues.
Section 1. A violent power vacuum. To understand how a cartel of this magnitude takes over, we've got to travel back over 2,000 years straight to the scene of the crime. The massive Mauryan Empire has just collapsed. The fallout is total chaos. It's a brutal power vacuum. Out of those ashes, a name emerges, but the official story is completely compromised. The ancient sacred texts, the Puranas, call them the Andhras. They claim this dynasty was born directly from the divine line of the sun itself. It's an untouchable mythic alibi. Yeah, but I'm not buying that official alibi. The physical forensic reality tells a much darker story. The actual stone inscriptions left behind at the crime scenes, they call them the Shatavahana. Exactly. They weren't descended from solar gods. We're looking at simple, ruthless warlords and farmers who forged their destiny not through divine right, but in raw iron and spilled blood. Our primary suspect for putting this syndicate on the map is King Samuka. He didn't just politely inherit a kingdom. He swept through the smoking ruins of older, dying dynasties and forcefully carved out a massive territorial footprint from coast to coast.
His tactical brilliance is exactly what made them untouchable. To control this vast expanse, Samuka set up a highly strategic double chokehold.
Right, he establishes Pratishtana as his western hub and Amaravati as the eastern hub.
By locking down those two specific geographical choke points, the Shatavahanas effectively became the ultimate toll booth. They controlled absolutely everything moving between northern and southern India. You literally couldn't breathe in the Deccan without paying them.
Let's review the suspect board and trace this ruthless bloodline. We start with Samuka, who laid the foundation in blood.
Then we track the escalation to Satakarni I, who aggressively tightens the empire's grip across central India.
But then they hit a wall. The empire faces a catastrophic crisis, pushed to the absolute brink of defeat by foreign invaders. They were almost wiped entirely off the map.
That is, until the arrival of the most dangerous man in their lineage, Gautamiputra. They called him the Titan.
And he completely rewrites the playbook. He paves the way for later commanders like Pulamavi and Yajnashri to take their dominance off the land and out onto the oceans.
But to really understand their survival, we have to isolate the man who pulled them back from total annihilation.
Section 2. Evidence of the Titan. We are zeroing in on the prime suspect of this historical cold case, Gautamiputra Satakarni. To understand the sheer scale of his power, you've got to look at the monster he hunted.
His primary target was Nahapana. Nahapana was a Western Shaka, a ruthless Scythian tyrant who had invaded and occupied Shatavahana lands.
The Shatavahana Dynasty was rapidly bleeding out under this occupation. They were literally weeks away from being a footnote in history.
But Gautamiputra didn't just fight Nahapana. He completely, unequivocally annihilated him. This wasn't a standard military engagement. It was a violent, earth-shattering counteroffensive that shook the entire Deccan plateau. The Scythian invaders weren't just defeated, they were structurally dismantled.
This is where the profile gets genuinely disturbing. Gautamiputra wasn't satisfied with merely leaving his enemies dead on the battlefield. He engineered a masterpiece of psychological warfare. He wanted to literally erase Nahapana from existence. The forensic evidence here is chilling. Step 1, annihilate the Shakas. Step 2, gather up tens of thousands of silver coins bearing the defeated tyrant's face and melt them all down. Step 3 is the killing blow. He stamps his own name, Gautamiputra Satakarni, right over the deformed, melted silver of his enemy.
It's a brilliant, deeply personal declaration of ownership. Every time a citizen bought bread, they held the physical, heavy proof in their hands that Gautamiputra owned their world. His enemies? Nothing but melted scrap.
That total, suffocating dominance is perfectly captured in the inscription he left behind. His war horses drank the waters of 3 oceans.
Trisamudra Toya Pietha Vahana. Take a second to really let the sheer towering arrogance of that statement sink in.
It's a terrifying declaration. It means his armies had marched to the Arabian Sea in the west, the Bay of Bengal in the east, and the Indian Ocean in the south.
He was claiming the geographic limits of the known world. There was nowhere on the subcontinent his shadow could not reach.
Section 3. Draining Rome's gold. We need to pivot our investigation from the blood-soaked battlefields to the underlying motive, the massive, sprawling economic machine. Because the Shatavahanas operated less like a traditional kingdom and entirely like an international cartel.
Let's analyze their extraction operation. At their zenith, they controlled Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and Karnataka. But more importantly, they locked down the absolute most vital trade ports of the ancient world, Sopara, Kalyan, and Baragaza.
By suffocating these ports, they created a massive siphon. They pumped staggering amounts of Roman gold and silver directly out of the West and into India. They effectively weaponized trade, financially bleeding Roman emperors who were helplessly addicted to Indian luxuries.
And they laundered this endless river of illicit wealth into monumental stone. They funded brooding, spectacular rock-cut temples like Karle and Kanahari, monuments built entirely on a foundation of Roman panic.
As we track the syndicate further down the timeline, the ambition mutates. When commanders Vashistiputra Pulamavi and Yajnashri Satakarni take power, they realize the true endgame lies way beyond the coastlines.
Naval trade violently expands under their watch. They transition from land-based warlords to lords of the sea.
And we have the forensic proof right here to back it up. Ancient coins from this era start appearing in circulation stamped with twin-masted ship motifs.
They were literally branding their currency with the vessels of international commerce. It was an undeniable message broadcast to the entire globe. Their monopoly had just gone maritime.
Section 4. The final, unseen invasion? But every cartel, no matter how universally feared, has a breaking point. We fast forward to the 3rd century CE, and this unstoppable dynasty suddenly, violently fractures.
The grand unified empire dissolves straight back into the Deccan dust, shattering into smaller, paranoid kingdoms.
Which leaves us staring at a totally dead end. It's a massive historical cold case. Did the Shatavahana Empire simply collapse from within, consumed by their own internal greed and the crushing immense weight of all that Roman gold?
Or were these untouchable titans erased by a final, phantom invasion creeping in from the shadows?
The physical evidence cuts off completely. The trail goes ice cold. The exact reason Rome's greatest fear finally met its end is still locked away out there, buried deep in the dust, waiting.